Welcome to this quick overview of the data center mission critical systems market. Compute is at the cornerstone of everything we do. And you have to realize that behind every product or service you buy or consume, there is actually compute infrastructure running behind the scenes. Compute runs applications and applications run businesses. So it's no surprise that modern, secure, and powerful applications are the gateway to successful digital transformation. You cannot compete in today's digital economy with legacy IT systems, so you have to modernize your infrastructure and applications. And when you think of your application landscape, you will see that you have general purpose applications and mission critical applications. The mission critical applications are the ones that drive your competitive advantage, and they depend on the kind of industry you're in. So you can think of ERP systems. For a retailer, chances are SAP is the system that tells him which stocks to replenish the next day. For a hospital, chances are Epic is the electronic medical record system they are using. If you are an online retailer, databases are extremely important for you. If you are in the banking industry, predictive analytics are a big thing. And SaaS could be the vendor you rely on for ATM fraud detection, for example. HPC is becoming more and more prevalent in all kinds of industries, just like AI is getting embedded in all kinds of applications. So all of these mission critical applications, they need very powerful systems to run them, and they need purpose-built systems, because purpose-built systems are the ones who can help you extract the most out of these applications with the best total cost of ownership. So let's take a look at the mission critical purpose-built systems market. And first, let's define what is mission critical. And mission critical systems are basically systems with mainframe-like RAS features. And by RAS, we mean reliability, availability, and serviceability. So these are systems that don't go down, systems with the utmost reliability and systems with the utmost uptime. So when you look at the market, so there is obviously the mainframes, there is Unix-based systems, and there is mission-critical x86. With mainframes, you have the usual suspects, IBM, Fujitsu. This market is declining, but there is a stickiness related to mainframes because of the application dependencies. So a lot of customers are stuck here, and they have legacy applications that they really can't refactor and redevelop into more modern application languages. So they keep renewing their mainframe contracts, but there are a lot of customers also in the mainframe industry that are moving to either Unix-based systems or mission-critical x86. In the Unix-based systems, this is also a declining market, but you still have the very powerful IBM Power, Oracle Spark running Solaris, and HPE UX. And then in the mission critical x86, you have HPE, you have Fujitsu, you have Dell Technologies, and other players. Let's take a look at HPE mission critical portfolio, because it's one of the very powerful portfolios and one of the most comprehensive mission critical systems portfolio out there in the market. So you have HPE Integrity with HPE UX, relying on Intel Itanium RISC-based CPU. You have HP Superdome Flex, which was released in 2017, relying on Cascade Lake CPUs. You have HPE Superdome Flex 280, which was released in June 2020 last year. And you have the HPE nonstop servers. So the first one is Unix-based. The second and third are Linux-based scale-up systems. So this is where you rely on a single system to provide all the power needed for your applications when it comes to computing, but also when it comes to memory. And this is very useful for in-memory based systems. And if scale-up is not adapted to the kind of application you rely on, then there is still the scale-out systems with HPE nonstop, but these are systems with extreme RAS features and one of the highest availability with the AL4 grading by IDC. This is another view of the Superdome portfolio. So you have the proprietary based on Itanium. These systems, mainly the Superdome 2, are supported and continue to be supported until 2025, possibly beyond that. But this is for the customers who really have these dependencies with legacy applications. They can still continue to do that. But there is also the open standards platform with the Superdome Flex that relies on Cascade Lake and Superdome Flex 280 that relies on Cooper Lake by Intel. So in terms of the Superdome portfolio, it builds on a building block approach. So you have a 5-view chassis and you can scale up by interconnecting other chassis up to 8 chassis with the Superdome Flex. And with the Flex 280, it's actually up to 2 chassis. So these are very powerful systems scaling from 4 socket to 32 with the Superdome Flex, a lower entry point with the Superdome Flex 280 from 2 to 8 sockets. The CPUs are different, as we said in the previous slide. And most notably, the CPU used in the Flex 280 has double the throughput of the Superdome Flex. So even though these systems, they scale only to 2 chassis, they are extremely powerful. And you have to remember that most of the market is in the 4 socket to 8 socket space when we think of mainly applications like SAP HANA. But enough about the hardware. What you really care about is your applications. Your SAP HANAs, your Oracles, your SQL servers, your HPC applications, and your AI applications. And Superdome has been built with the capabilities to empower these applications. So SAP HANA, for example, HPE is the #1 undisputed leader for SAP HANA with 40% market share. And with a market share more than the 3 next competitors combined. HPE is the leader with SAP HANA appliances, with SAP HANA TDI deployments, more than 27,000 server deployments worldwide, the possibility to use Superdome with SAP HANA, leveraging things like GreenLake as a service offering, but also things like HPE Finance. And SAP HANA is one of the best workloads that run on HP. HP is one of the largest SAP HANA customers with a deployment of 50 terabytes. So this is one of the competitive advantages of HPE when it comes to the SAP HANA space. You have to realize that by 2027, all customers have to migrate to SAP HANA. So you're talking about 400,000 customers out there that have to migrate to the HANA database. So tremendous market potential here. And HPE has tremendous capabilities from the portfolio, from the services, but also with very interesting offerings like the GreenLake as a service offering. Same thing with Oracle. Basically, Oracle is moving a lot into the in-memory space. So scaling up allows you to reduce the licensing when it comes to Oracle database. Oracle database is licensed per core. So having a single system with very powerful memory can enable you to really get the most out of your system with the best possible TCO. So you will get the best performance per core and the best cost of that performance per core by using the Superdome system, specifically the Superdome 280. And there are also ways to avoid cluster latency, because when you scale out, you're moving away from the single system, and you have to get your data to traverse the network. So that adds a tax when it comes to the latency. So you could avoid that by going for a single system, but also you could avoid the Oracle clustering fees when you go for Oracle Rack. And HPE has a very innovative solution that can help you save on these licensing costs. Same thing with SQL. SQL is also moving more towards in-memory capabilities. So SQL is also licensed per core. So HPE can help you save on the licensing cost, but also help you get more processing power and help you process that data as close as possible to your CPUs by leveraging the in-memory capabilities. HPC is getting more and more prevalent, so it doesn't have to be a very large supercomputer anymore. So with the HPE SuperDome Flex scaling up to 8 systems, you could basically run a lot of your HPE scenarios, HPC scenarios within that single system. Same thing with AI. Though there is a lot of capabilities that could be leveraged for AI purposes because of the very powerful CPU used in HPE SuperDome, because of the hyper-threading capabilities, because of the huge amount of memory. So you will be able to process that data in memory, and you will be able to get the most out of your infrastructure with the lowest cost of ownership. Very interesting examples you see with HPE customers, and you can see here where you can basically mix the use of a scale-up system with external storage. So here in this example, you have a customer that's using 100 terabyte data warehouse that is stored on HPE Primera, but you can see that this database is leveraging the most out of the HPE SuperDome by enabling it to process data in memory. So you can see here that when you let data traverse the network to your external storage system, you're basically executing this 600 billion rows pricing report in 126 seconds. But when you leverage the 8 terabyte memory in the system in question, you can basically get to execute that data in memory, and it's basically double the performance.